Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to the third and final day of the 5th Solar India Expo. Our last session of the day is Digitisation ushering a new solar era. Without further ado, I would like to call the esteemed panel on the dais. Kindly welcome with a huge round of applause our moderator, Mr. Prasidh Kumar, President, India-Africa Youth Energy Forum, India. Our speakers, Mr. Manish Das, co-founder, Skilancer Solar India. Let's show a little more welcome. Thank you. Mr. Siddharth Gangal, CEO, The Solar Labs, India. Mr. Alok Kumar, Director and Country Manager, India Advisory, DNVGL, India. Mr. Gaurav Mamik, President, Veriown Global Inc., India. Mr. Richard Shacklock, Africa Region Sales Manager, Geosense South Africa Limited. And Ms. Shweta Malik, TERI. A warm welcome to our panel. I request our moderator, Mr. Prasidh Kumar, to kindly inaugurate the session.
Thank you so much, Ashwari. So, a very good morning again to all of you. Before starting the session, I would like to congratulate our new government, actually re-elected government of Mr. Modi to come again into power. And I want to congratulate to Exhibition India Group also for having such a great event despite of having elections results going on. So now a brief introduction I'll give of myself to start with. I am Prasidh Kumar, CEO of Soreva Energy and founding president of India-Africa Youth Energy Forum. So as a company of Soreva Energy in Digitisation, we are having panel level monitoring. We are doing monitoring projects all over India, starting with NISC, in Haryana, in Uttar Pradesh, we are doing projects. Other than that, we are having MLP technology with us, module level power electronics, which is obviously a very new technology in which we are working on. Other than that, we are doing EPC in digitization ways. We are trying to, everything we are trying to have digitalized in EPC, monitoring is anyhow there, and etc., etc. Other than that, if I come to India-Africa Youth Energy Forum, we are trying to mobilize youth, and we are in a belief that solar energy or renewable energy is not energy, which is of more power. Youth energy is the energy which is to be considered and which is of more important nowadays. So with this, I'll start the panel discussion and giving a brief introductory remark over the coming decades. Digital technologies are said to make energy systems around the world more connected, intelligent, efficient, reliable, and sustainable. Digitalized energy systems in the future may be able to identify who needs energy and deliver it at the right time, in the right place, and the lowest cost. But getting everything right will not be easy, that's obvious. Now, I would like to introduce my co-panelists, starting from Mr. Shacklock. I like Shacklock, I'm not having his profile. I'd like you to give a brief introduction, please.
Is this on? Yeah. Hi, I'm Richard Shacklock. I'm sales manager for Geosense. We're based in Southern Africa. We're an aerial survey and data acquisition company. We're here working with our Indian partners. We plug into the smart cities and the digital twinning of cities that is taking place in the world right now. It's an exciting space, and obviously solar is one small aspect of the parts of the infrastructure that we come across in the work that we do.
Thank you for your brief introduction. I'd like Mr. Manish Das, co-founder of Skilancer Solar, to give a brief introduction of himself. He is upscaling and modernizing the solar power plant operation and maintenance, and been empowering the solar power revolution by enhancing year-round peak panel performance and lowering the levelized cost of energy with its IoT and AI-based waterless automatic solar panel cleaning robot. Skilancer Solar is headquartered in Delhi, has been incubated in IIM Lucknow, and aim to be the first robotic-based solar-owned company to achieve 5 GW of total installed capacity by 2022. I'd like you to give a brief introduction of what you're doing.
Thank you, Prasidh, for the introduction. So, I am Manish. We started in 2017 And to give what we do in a nutshell is we manufacture robots for the cleaning of solar panels. So this is what our product is all about. And it is IoT enabled product, and it has intelligence as well as we are working with a second prototype which will include machine learning as well. So this is what our product is.
A round of applause for you, please. Now we have Alok Kumar, Country Manager, India for Energy Advisory, DNVGL Energy. And obviously you might be knowing DNVGL is doing so much in digitization and is an organization based in digitizing solar energy only. Alok Kumar is in DNVGL's Country Manager, India for Energy Advisory since 2014 and is responsible for advisory business in power sector, including renewable energy in South Asia countries. He has more than 10 years of experience in this sector in India, Germany, Sweden, Taiwan and Sri Lanka. Alok has been members of various committees including PMG group of FOVIND project, committee instituted by NIWE for preparation finalization of environment impact assessment, guidelines for the development of offshore wind farm, working group for deliberating the various IEC standards 2015 for necessary adoption by BIS. Alok received his bachelor degree in aerospace from IIT Kharagpur and master's degree in aerodynamics from IIT Kanpur. So I'd like to give a brief introduction of what you're doing right now with DNVGL.
DNVGL is more than 150 years old company. It has 5 verticals, maritime, oil and gas, business assurance, energy and digital solutions. So we came up with a new vertical called digital solution a few years back. In India, we are quite active in all the 5 verticals. We are helping many companies to realize their strategy for digitalizations, and we have our own software tools and we have our own R&D staff who are working in solar as well as wind space. As a company, we invest 5% of revenue every year in R&D projects, and this is what helping us move into the digitalization space.
Now we have Ms. Malik with us, who is from TERI and is electrical engineer and also MTech in renewable energy and doing so many things in blockchain energy. I'd like you to please give a brief introduction of what you are doing in TERI and what this digitization you are involved with.
Thank you. My name is Shweta Malik and I'm from TERI. TERI is a non-profit research organization, and we are moving towards implementing a pilot project in Delhi for peer-to-peer energy trading in blockchain. For now on, we are developing a prototype with a blockchain developers in Hyperledger, using Hyperledger technology, and moving towards the blockchain era that is coming for India. Thank you.
Now I'll come to Gaurav Mamik, President India Veriown Global Inc. Gaurav Mamik is the President of India of Veriown. Mr. Mamik is founder and director of Green Lightning Private Limited in India. Veriown Network for Installation and Service Technicians, Green is a renewable energy system developer and contractor and one of the leading installers of solar home lighting systems, solar street lights for the development of India. I'd please like you to give what else you are doing.
Hi everyone, I'm Gaurav here. Started this company about 6 years back, and we are doing rural rectification, off-grid solar home lighting systems, solar street lights. We have a good track record of installing about 180,000 systems in about 37,000 villages in India in 16 states. Very few companies, I think so, have reached this scale. And we've come up with a new technology, with a new product, which is going to be connected to the internet. And we're already testing it in some parts of UP now and going to be taking it to other places of India very shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Gangal. I come to Mr. Gangal. Siddharth is a technology and solar geek. At the Solar Labs, he gets to merge his love for the two and gets to build great technology products for the solar industry. The Solar Labs was incubated by IIT Mandi, Catalyst and NASCOM 10K startups. The Solar Labs is building an artificial intelligence-backed platform for solar installers to help their salesmen sell better, reduce engineering time for engineers, and optimize system design to squeeze out more energy than manually engineered systems. He also takes immense joy in reading fiction and biography and enjoys the occasional game of football. So I'd like to tell more about the digitization technology, other than playing football and reading fictions and biographics.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Siddharth. So at the Solar Labs, we have developed technology that allows anyone to locate their house on a map and then see how solar would be placed on that roof, how much energy it would generate, how much financial savings you would have, and gives it in a very presentable and transparent fashion to homeowners. So we market this product we market this technology in two ways. One is a software product for solar installers, which allows them to do this for their prospects and their leads. The second is a product for utilities, in which they can inform their their millions of customers what their solar potential would be.
Thank you for brief introduction. And to start with and to know more about digitization, ushering in new solar era, and what all the new technology, what all are coming with, I would like all my the co-panelists who are having presentations with them to please present a short 5 to 7 minutes presentation so that we can know what trends they are using and what they're thinking in this new solar era. Starting with Ms. Malik, I think we can start with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. As I told you, I'm Shweta, and we are working towards blockchain technology for peer-to-peer energy trading. The question arises, what is the need for a new energy system? We all know that we are moving towards decentralized system from centralized system. And when we are using distributed energy resource management system, solar rooftop is the most famous resource that we will be using. However, the targets that are yet to be achieved is very low, because we have achieved only 3 gigawatt for the rooftop solar. We already have net metering to upscale solar rooftop, but here we are proposing new trading system, that is peer-to-peer energy trading. What is the difference between net metering and the peer-to-peer energy trading system is that we are not in peer-to-peer energy. We are not using discom anywhere. However, we are using the physical infrastructure of distribution company. While using the physical infrastructure of distribution company, we are having a market clearing price which is set for consumer as well as for prosumers. Prosumers are a type of consumer which are having solar rooftop at their premises. We all know that a distribution company gives us when we are selling our net metered excess surplus power. The discom company gives us APPC rate, and then it sells us back to the consumer, and we are paying it the feed-in tariff. However, in peer-to-peer trading, the consumer and the prosumer can directly communicate between each other and set a common market clearing price. What is peer-to-peer energy trading? Here we are having consumer and prosumer, and consumer pays the distribution company, and the prosumer takes from the distribution company or from the neighborhood. The advantages that we are having from peer-to-peer energy trading is that we can have an instant payment from renewable energy. The renewable energy that we are getting is much cheaper as compared to the renewable energy that we get from discom company. It provides a competitive advantages for innovative retailers. By the help of distribution ledger technology, we can provide a transparent, secure, and instant network, better return for excess energy, as well as allows for more informed usage decision. As I told you that we are using distributed ledger technology. Here there are many DLT technologies that we can use. Here we are using blockchain. Why blockchain? Because it provides a tamper-proof mechanism and which cannot be hacked, plus all the informations that are transferred is in the form of cryptography. How blockchain work is when a consumer and a prosumer agrees for a transaction, the transaction is combined, all the transaction at a certain timestamp gets combined, and it becomes a block. This block is joined to other blocks that are already in the network, and this gives us a blockchain network, and hence the transaction is completed. Now TERI is providing the proof of concept for 10 households, which will be having 5 consumers and 5 prosumers. Each of them will be having smart contracts, which is the most important aspect of blockchain. Now these consumers and prosumers will do the transaction with the help of tokens, which can be of 1 unit or 1 rupees, and the meter data is transferred by smart meters that are installed in their premises. Here, the smart contract actually works by a mechanism when bidding strategies comes into picture. So bidding strategy and auction mechanism gets calculated. There are various mechanisms using game theories that auction mechanism develops. Here we are using discriminatory double auction method, where it creates a win-win approach for consumers as well as prosumers, and the economic evaluation matrix is created at the month end. Here the auction mechanism is discriminatory, as I told you, and it provides a win-win approach. How? Let's say an example that the asking price is 3 rupees and the selling price is 2 rupees. This mechanism actually creates a market clearing price which is 2.5 rupees, and hence a profit of 0.5 rupees for consumer as well as for prosumer is provided. These are some of the screenshots that TERI has developed for this type of transaction. All the authority will be given to the distribution company first. These are the transaction details that each consumer and prosumer will get. To add the meter or to subtract the meter, number of meters can be added. To add tokens, current trade, production and consumption. Adding the upper limit and the lower limit for trading, that will be set by the distribution company. Coming quickly to the policy recommendation that TERI wants to give. As we all know that UPARC has already included the peer-to-peer energy trading in their solar rooftop regulation. However, there is no clear indication to how to implement this energy trading platform. National level technical standards should be given, and the regulator should ask utilities to set up some pilot projects for setting up business model for the utilities. I would end my presentation with the future work that we can add the battery energy storage as well as electric vehicles in the proof of concept, as well as implementing a pilot project for the distribution company. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shweta, for the brief presentation and introductory remark on what blockchain is and how we are. Now, I request Mr. Alok Kumar from DNVGL to again give a presentation on what they're doing and this aspect.
So first few slides about DNVGL. So as I mentioned before, we are into 5 different verticals, and we are more than 150 years old company. We are started as a maritime classification society, and then around 80-90 years back, we also moved into oil and gas. And in the energy sector, we moved around 80 years back. We are also into business assurance, and we have a new vertical called digital solutions. So we are operating in more than 400 offices from 100 countries. We have around 100,000 customers with around 12,500 employees. And as I mentioned before, we invest 5% of revenue every year on R&D. So when we talk about digitalizations and digitization, so there is always a confusion between these two. So digitalization is about the business practices or coming up with the new business through digitizations. So when we talk about it, we basically mean this. One is the smart metering infrastructure. Then we have two-way communication. We also talk about real-time monitoring, demand response, and then forecasting. The NVGL has its own GPM Horizon tool, which is the asset management tool. And this is the first such tool which incorporates both wind, solar, as well as energy storage. And in terms of action-wise, one can have the full portfolio overview. It can identify issues in advance. This can generate tickets as well as work orders. And it can also give an overview of the whole facilities, and it will generate daily report as well as monthly report. In terms of benefit, of course, one benefit is the cost reduction, mainly on the operation side.
And when we incorporate artificial intelligence, then we have the adding value from the past experience. We will have the algorithm that support efficiency, and we also have the management of consolidated portfolio because, as I mentioned before, it will include wind, solar, plus energy storage. So first of all, how important is solar for us? The NBCL has come up with energy transition outlook that forecasts that by 2050, 70% of electricity generation will be through renewables, and a large part of that will also come through solar. So we expect that this transition will continue, and by 2050, the 70% of power will come through renewables. So when we talk about the main implication for solar, then what we see that we have the variability issues that require additional flexibility. We have the growth that should not be constrained by variability cost. We also have the sector coupling which should be encouraged, and major regulatory intervention that is required. Just now Shweta mentioned about the blockchain, but I think unless we don't have the right regulatory environment, this will not pick up. And the impact on wholesale price, that will also affect on the income side. So if I have to say that, the digitalization has been the enabler for two trends that we are seeing right now. One is the decarbonization, and the other one is the decentralization. When we talk about the digital technology, we are basically looking into the 5 different aspects. One is, of course, the computer, where we have the large and small distributed clouds edge. And then we talk about the connectivity, and we are now talking about the 5G. We also talk about the sensors and data. Luckily, both wind and solar, they have a lot of sensors installed. And finally, we have software that comes through AI or machine learning or big data, or we talk about blockchain. The NBCL has recently, last week, they came up with a report, and the report name is Digitalization and the Future of Energy, because we just wanted to test that is digitalization just the hype, or is something is happening on the ground. So in this, what we did that, the NBCL surveyed around 2,000 companies covering the whole of energy value chain, and we also had the 5 qualitative interviews with this company. And some of the findings are that 87% of the companies, they believe that digitalization is the important core strategy for them. What we also saw that the larger companies have more digitalization as their public strategy, whereas a smaller company are more working as well as on their internal strategy. So one thing is very clear that more than 80% they believe that digitalization is the core part of their strategy. We also discussed about that where do they feel like, in terms of the industry standards. So 20% feel that they are the digital leader in this space, whereas 42% felt that they are just on par with the industry, and the remaining felt that they are behind the industry in terms of incorporating digitalization. So what is the main objective for digitalization as a strategy? 89% felt that they are going for digitalization to improve efficiency. So this came out as the main objective for them. And when we discussed about the technology side, then we found that automation and digital workflow is top on the agenda in terms of digitalization. Second was the cyber security. And third one, then comes the advanced analytics. We also discussed about the barriers, and what we found that 41% felt that the lack of digital mindset is the major barrier in incorporating the digitalization in their company, and 39% felt the lack of digital skills. When we combine both digital and domain knowledge, then 71% felt that they need employees with combined data and domain knowledge, and 41% felt that the data science is the top skill that they need right now. So in short, if I have to sum up, I would say that 87% of the company that we interviewed, they have digitalization as a strategy. 89% they feel that this is going to improve efficiency, and that's why they are going ahead with this digitalizations. 41% they believe that the major barrier is the lack of digital mindset in their company, and 71% of them felt that they need employees with combined data and domain knowledge. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alok Kumar. I think wonderful presentation on the company side and on the practical aspects discussing in digitization ushering in new solar era. On the similar grounds, we have Mr. Siddharth Gangal who can talk on artificial intelligence and all these things.
So hi everybody. So today I'll be talking about some of the things that we are doing, bringing artificial intelligence into the solar industry, and also some general trends that we see about how technology is going to shape the solar future. What we do, so we have developed a solar SaaS software that is used by solar salesmen and engineers. Essentially, it helps them cut down their engineering time of a solar plant from anywhere from like a few days to a few hours. We also help in optimization of the solar asset. So we're able to actually increase the solar insolation values for the system up to 20% right at the design stage. So that results in more power being generated and a higher ROI. Another thing that we're doing is we're helping a lot of people understand for their rooftop how much solar can be put up. So one of the major problems that is stopping the solar industry from growing as fast as it can is that there's a large consumer awareness problem. People don't really know what solar is and what it can do for them. So this is our attempt at solving the problem. So we will map out an entire city at once. And on each building, we'll have a sort of a report in which anyone can see what solar can do for them. So we believe that it'll help in consumer awareness. It'll also help solar installers save cost by them not having to do the initial site survey anymore. Also, this data can be used by the government for tenders completely with the data analytics. So this is how it works. So essentially, you select your house in a map, input your CA number or your electricity bill data, and you will see a house with solar panels placed on the roof accurately. And you will also see, what size of system would work best for you. What are the subsidies that are available in your place? What's the ROI? And monthly, how much it would generate. So we are marketing this and we're working with a few governments to bring this into the market as we speak. Some more general trends about how solar can be accelerated is by the government doing more. So what it can do is it can do studies to calculate the cost of customer acquisition for a solar company, for a solar installer, and see how we can lower that. So there have been similar studies done in the US by NREL, and we request that the government also does a similar study for India. Some more general trends about also relate to monitoring. So efficient and proper monitoring in distributed solar can also open up more data. So it enables quality systems and ensures that the systems keep generating the power. Also, it can enable P2P energy trading. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Siddharth. Now I'd like Mr. Richard Shacklock to share his views on digitization in new solar era. He is already working in Africa and is obviously very close to me since I'm also president of India-Africa Youth Energy Forum. I would please like to share your views on the subject.
Thank you. Thanks very much. As I said, I work for a company called Geosense. We're data partners with other companies here in India. And it's interesting that I come to talk to you about solar today because I'm not directly involved in solar. I come across solar in what we do. So in our collection of data, we will have impact from solar or we will impact solar in different ways. I think one of the fun stories that we can share with you is that one of the requirements for big solar farms, for example, is that if you place a farm of solar panels in an area, it's very important to work out sun angles and the impact of the sun angles because the Civil Aviation Authority has a problem for pilots with the glare that is generated from the sun. So we're using aeroplanes for a lot of our data capture. So solar does impact what we do, for sure it does, in a different context entirely. I think more to the point directly of the smart cities. We're working on data sets to make a digital twin of cities. And people will ask, well, what is the reason for doing that? And in the narrow channel of what we're talking about here today, things like your electrification or your solar panels, there's two direct impacts. First of all, your solar panels can be built into the model and monitored and connected to various smart networks or smart location designs. And they can be monitored, interacted with, and they can add value to the city. The other side of what we're doing is when we build the model, we can also assist by showing people the best direction or the best way or location to place their solar panels on their roof, because they will have a digital environment of their city. All your rooftops can be mapped, and from there you can see sun angles, you can work out sun passage, shadows, and you can work out directions. And from there you can plan your solar panels the best. So we do impact with solar in a narrow confine, but and we plug into smart cities. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Shacklock, for sharing your views in solar energy industry that you're doing in South Africa. I request Mr. Mamik to give a last presentation, I think you are having, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Gaurav and my company name is Veriown. We are into rural electrification, as I told you, and into solar home lighting systems and solar street lights. We've installed about 190,000 systems in about 16 states and 37,000 villages in India in the last 6 years. We install them, commission them and maintain them for 5 years. Some of them are government contracts, some of them are private initiatives, CSRs. We've just come up with a new product which is going to be connected to the internet, and it's IoT device, and we are already testing it in the state of UP right now in a couple of villages, and going to be taking it to the other states too. That's what the product looks like. It's got a LED screen in which people can watch movies, listen to radio, get information. Phone charging, LED bulbs. Our global partners are BYD, the Chinese company which is into lithium-ion batteries. Vodafone is our connectivity partner. Microsoft is our cloud computing partner. Green is our service and installation partner. Eros is our content partner, and DMI is our microfinance partner. That's part of our team, which is in Chicago and in India. This is some of the pictures of our pilot projects which we've already installed, and people are testing it. It's for beneficiaries, it's for shop owners. That was Microsoft was visiting the sites, and they gave a presentation on that. That's our founder, our CEO, that's me, I guess. And we are also going, the next phase we're going to get into is the smart homes. The rural smart homes, standalone smart homes, which will be solar powered, cloud connected communities. Already started this project in Haiti and now going to be bringing it to UP. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mamik, for the presentation. Now let us start with the panel discussion now, and to start with I want to cover 3 aspects into it. One is the operation and maintenance part, second the asset management, and third the performance evaluation. Nowadays quality is underrated and overlooked. So we have Mr. Manish Das sitting over here who's in Skilancer doing operation and maintenance work. So I would like to know from you what digitization you are bringing in operation and maintenance tasks so that to make it more easier and compatible for the users of solar energy.
So we have seen a huge growth in solar installation, right? And generally these solar plants are installed in arid areas where we don't have access to the manpower very easily. where we don't have all the access that we like expect for in an urban society. So, and apart from that, the prices have reduced very dramatically, right? So the last bid that I saw was closed at 2.44 rupees, which is remarkably low. So to cope up with this situation, we need to have an extremely great operation and maintenance, so that we can like get a huge output of our the installation that we have done. So our company basically eliminates the challenge of cleaning the solar plants, which is done fortnightly, and we clean the solar panels using our robots on a daily basis, which doesn't allow the dust to settle onto the panel, which eventually leads to the loss in the electricity generation. And this robot is autonomous, so you don't have a manual dependency to operate the robot, and above all, it uses no water. So water is going to be scarce in a couple of decades, and countering these three parameters, the cleaning that should be done on a daily basis. There should be no dependency on manpower and no dependency on water for cleaning as a solution. So we designed this product, and all the companies which are adopting this digitized way of maintaining the solar plants, or rather the cleaning of the solar plants, are getting better good results as in compared to the one who are not. So this is my point which I would like to put in.
That's wonderful. Robotic cleaning and saving water in cleaning is a great strategy, and we should bring digitization into it. We are wasting so much water nowadays. The similar trailing question I want to bring to Mr. Gangal. You are doing artificial intelligence, solar mapping and calculating the area and all. So what aspects do you consider in operation and maintenance for cleaning part while designing the solar power plant for a rooftop or otherwise?
So on the design side, we have provisions for putting up walkways for manual cleaning. There are also some provisions for putting up, or like for there's a different way of laying out a solar system for cleaning, or for different types of cleaning systems. So we allow those inputs and allow a system to be efficiently designed on the software. In terms of O&M aspect, we don't really focus on what happens after installation, but some of the data that maybe he can help with is, like, once the installation is done, how much energy output is coming out. If that can be put up, like put up and given to the public, so then they would be able to see, for example, in Delhi, in Nehru Place, if there's a plant up there. So how much it would actually generate versus relying on satellite-based or NASA data, which is somewhat accurate, but on-ground data is always more accurate.
That's wonderful. I think you are relying more on data rather than on cleaning issues. Yeah, that's fine. So since we are talking of cleaning, and Mr. Gaurav Mamik is there with us, so I want to put that same question with you. You are into off-grid, you are into street lights, you have multiple street lights, 37,000 villages, you have installed solar off-grid system. So what do you think for cleaning can be done in those small systems?
Basically, because ours is all in rural villages and it's all spread out. So we've got technical teams and we've got service people who make quarterly visits to these sites and just explain the beneficiary how to maintain them and how to clean them. And as these are home lighting systems, they're installed on huts and on roofs of small houses, and it's very easily accessible. So the beneficiary cleans it on his own and takes pride in cleaning it, because that's when the efficiency of the system increases.
That's wonderful, sir. Now coming to my second aspect of the asset management, in which I think Mr. Richard Shacklock can give more insights. What of asset management or in the smart cities that you're doing in Africa can be more useful in?
Thanks very much. I think I'm going to take the question a little bit to the side and just be to what we have found in the legislative environment more actually around the asset management in the municipalities in South Africa. The local councils are very interested in the uptake of solar panels, and in so doing, they have a local legislative requirement now for every roof or every building that has solar panels to be registered on a database. Again, that comes to the asset management question, but at the same time, it also comes to other questions, where they're taking that and why they're doing that. The obvious ones exist as well. They want to record how many people are producing their own electricity, how much they can save the grid. I think to give a deeper answer to the question also is one needs to understand the supply method in Africa. Generally, the power transmission company creates the electricity. It then sells it to the local council. In our case, it's called the municipality. That municipality then sells that to its residents, and it sells it, and there is a margin given to the municipality. So they have a vested interest in electricity. There is a little bit of a conflict coming now between the local municipality and the privateers who are using solar panels on their roof. So it comes to the asset management, but it also comes to bigger questions that are coming from which is the right way to go and how do they manage this situation.
That's nice, thank you. So we are talking about municipalities, and obviously decentralized solar energy will come into picture. And in my previous moderations also, and in previous sessions in Exhibition India also, we are talking about digitalization in much greater extent. So as digitization, I think now is an old technology. Now we are moving towards blockchain. And for blockchain, we have Ms. Shweta with us, Mr. Alok with us, and that will be a much greater technology discussing in this panel, because we are discussing solar ushering in new era. So I would like to come to Ms. Shweta Malik. What of blockchain technology is helping in digitization much more benefit?
When we are talking about trading, peer-to-peer energy trading, then there are a number of transactions that are happening in each second. Let's take an example of there are 10 households. These 10 households are doing transaction every second, and there's each household is calculating its simultaneously each market price. Now there are lots and lots of data that needs to be managed. Now here the security comes into the picture, the privacy comes into the picture. Therefore, blockchain is a method that we can rely on, because it provides the security and privacy when we are doing this type of trading. Coming to the solar rooftop, as we know, we have only achieved 3 gigawatt out of the 40 gigawatt target that we are having for solar rooftop. So I think this type of trading can help in upscaling the rooftop plants that we are installing in India, and blockchain will help in these type of transactions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Malik. Sir, I would like to come to Mr. Alok. Other than trading in blockchain, like trading is already going on, what else and how in other ways we can use blockchain technology in decentralized solar energy?
DNVGL saw the value of blockchain, and last year it picked up the stake in a company called VeChain. And besides this P2P trading, what it has done is that it has put more than 100,000 certifications on the blockchains that can be accessed by the customer from anywhere. So this is another use, because you have the certification for model testing, you have the same for various other technology. And once all these certifications are there on the blockchain, they are secured, they can be accessed by the customer, they can be seen by anywhere from the world. And that will also give a sort of confidence to the customer. So I see that this is also another area where blockchain can be used.
That's wonderful, sir. This is a new insight of blockchain technology we can use in decentralized solar energy and in new solar era. And coming again to the third aspect of power performance evaluation, which ourselves as a Sureva Energy we are doing, Like we are monitoring the data, we are doing the forecasting of the data, we are telling what can be done, how the performance of the solar power plant can be further increased by doing monitoring. And this we are doing on on-grid system and grid-connected system. On the similar aspects, I would like to know from Mr. Mamik on what in off-grid solar or with battery operation we can do the performance evaluation.
So we are using we used to use the lead acid batteries. Now we are using the lithium ion batteries because they are maintenance free and they have a good life about 5 years. And the capacity is very good, so the autonomy is very good. So with a small panel of 40 watts and a 15 Ah battery, there is autonomy of at least 3 days. So if there's no sunlight for 3 days, the system still works.
And sir, on the similar ground, if I come to you, Mr. Das, this performance evaluation we are talking, operation and maintenance you're already doing. And in off-grid system, how do you take care of the performance evaluation and the operation and maintenance part of the solar power plant?
At present we are not doing any kind of off-grid thing, but yes, we can introduce the digitization in it. We can use smart inverters, which is a great thing to have if we have like a small utility scale of solar plants. And above all, we are just in a process of developing this small robot which can fit in that particular market. But yes, there is a scope of digitization which people are not aware of, and so this is all my take.
That's wonderful. Smart inverters, I think, is the part in which we can more focus and work more closely on it. And with this performance evaluation, we are having our data with us. So much of data is collected, even with blockchain technologies. Big data analytics is one of the major part in which is playing role nowadays in new solar era. So how to manage this data is a critical aspect, and we all are thinking on it. And Mr. Alok Kumar can give more insights on big data analytics.
So as I mentioned that we have a solution called GPM Horizon, which collects all the data. And first and foremost important part is to clean the data and get the data with the right quality. So here, using the machine learning, we can develop a lot of insight into the data, which can help. For example, we discussed about the cleaning of the modules. So if you use the data, what this solution can do is that it can actually suggest that what should be the optimum frequency of the cleaning. Based on the daily soiling, it will also say that, how much revenues are being lost and what is the cost of, cleaning regime. So based on this, it will say that what should be the optimum frequency of the cleaning. Besides this, using the machine learning technique, what one can do is that, one can kind of predict any kind of underperformance or any kind of failure well in advance. So that will also help in lowering down the cost, and that will also help in addressing any kind of underperformance, because any technical issues which might aggravate, they will be known well in advance, so that can be solved. What we have seen is that the major challenge in having the data in the right quality and in the right format, and this is where our GPM solution, it helps having all the data, and it has inbuilt machine learning tool that will throw any kind of underperformance.
On similar thing, I would like to ask Ms. Shweta also, because she is also working on the similar background in blockchain technology, and I think she can also much handle this part of data analytics with blockchain. Ma'am, I would like to know from you how you are handling this data in blockchain technology and how secure your data is.
When we are talking about security, actually blockchain uses cryptography. There are certain hash technologies. Each transaction is actually converted into hash system. These hash codes get into the blockchain platform, and it gets transferred to all the other peers. Now, the peers that are connected in the network cannot see the transaction of other peers, but they are having the information of all transactions that are happening in the platform. If we say there is any tampering in the smart meters or our smart meters get hacked, then each of them will get to know that there is certain tampering done, the smart meters has been hacked, and the information is sent to each peer, hence providing a secured network to the secure network by this blockchain platform. Talking about one more aspect of blockchain platform where we can use is the batteries. We can use batteries, and by the use of energy arbitrage, we can charge the batteries in the daytime, and hence we can use that stored energy at the night time. And this transaction can also be managed by blockchain platform. So here now the blockchain is not implementing in the daytime, as well as it is implementing in the night time also, providing a secured network.
Thank you, Ms. Shweta. I think your data is much more secured with the blockchain technology. And since we are talking about data, and we have Mr. Richard Shacklock sitting over here who's working in the municipalities, and probably, sir, you are also having some data issues, like how you are dealing with data with municipalities of the solar power plant and otherwise. Sir, I would like to know from you.
Yeah, I think that's always going to be a challenge. We're talking a little bit away from solar now. Data integration is always a problem. It's the physical size of the data that's growing at a rapid rate. The technology is keeping up with it. It's always an imbalance between the hardware and the software and the data. There is always a challenge taking place. We do find local government, which is what the municipalities are often under-equipped for what they need, for the big data that we're providing to them. And at the same time, for security reasons, they are restricted to going to online platforms or working in the cloud. And I think that's where we currently find the challenges in our marketplace, and I think in a lot of other marketplaces too, not outside of Africa, even in the Middle East as well, is the move to big data, and the big data using it online or in a cloud platform, but at the same time keeping those security firewalls in place and keeping those local government institutions within their regulatory bounds.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. I think we have discussed about the couple of technologies from blockchain to the data management, data assets, operation and maintenance. Sir, I would like to come to Mr. Gangal. You are using satellite data, you are using satellites. What other technologies you can have for solar power plant to build up a proper inspection of the place?
So mainly around AI, the main technologies used are around machine learning and computer vision. So computer vision is the branch that relates to how a camera or how an image can be manipulated to extract useful information out of it. So that's what we're doing with satellite imagery data. We use photogrammetry and other techniques to extract 3D models and then simulate sun movement to get shadow-free areas and then place panels. So that's one use case. Another use case that we have worked on before and that is still in R&D phase is the usage of a mobile camera. So this is for solar installers. So what they could do is, as they're doing a site survey or even ask their customers to do this, just take a video of the roof and then that would be reconstructed to a 3D model. So that allows for a very quick survey. It's very accurate as compared to traditional mapping out on paper. So that's another branch of computer vision that the solar industry can use. The blockchain has been, I think, well covered by everybody, and yeah.
I think this mapping you can done with more precisely with using drone technology that is available nowadays in the solar era, in this new ushering era of solar energy. Right. So with this, I would like to open the session to the audience because we are talking of more of energy aspects, like what audience would like to know and what is going to be in the new solar era. Any questions, please?
Thank you so much for the lovely insights that we have all received right now. My name is Kumar. I'm from a company called Janajal, Supremus Group. Now, my question, it's not really a question, but it's an observation. We talk of solar energy, we talk of EVs, we talk of energy optimization, but really, is the public aware of these things that are there available to us? There's a lot of aggressive marketing and branding which is happening for everything else. But if I look at it as a consumer, I do not see much happening or much awareness about the same. That's a general statement from my side. My question is to Mr. Gangal. The question is that when we talk of energy optimization and collaboration and integration. So I'm from a startup company which is working towards providing safe and clean drinking water at an affordable rate to everyone out in the public, working with the public as well as the private sector. But issues like integrating water dispensing with solar energy, integrating water dispensing with lithium-ion batteries, and making it a much more efficient system. So what can we as companies do, or who can we approach, and where can the information be gathered from, is my question.
Like as a startup, it's always very difficult to meet people and meet the right people. So like platforms like these are, great where you can meet people, discuss ideas. So for example, there would be Leon battery manufacturers or people who work in that industry here. So just talk to them about your ideas, see what you can come up with together. Another thing is like how you can use the government or how you can work with the government. Again, it's very hard to, meet the right people in government and even get a meeting. But that is hard, it's challenging. But when you work with the government and then you get that government happa, it lends a very big credibility to you, and then people start taking you a little more seriously. So again, platforms like this is a great way to meet people. So I understand that there's a Smart City Expo also going on. So a lot of Smart City CEOs are also here. So just catch them as they're speaking, just as they speak, just when they come down, just catch a hold of them, present them your idea, and ask for a meeting.
Thank you so much. These platforms are absolutely incredible. May I just present one more small question, if that's all right?
Sure.
So the statement here is, I've seen and I've worked in places like Khoda, if you know, it's in Noida, and places like Trilokpuri. So these are basically huge slum areas, which has major issues of electricity. So, and it also is a place where huge solar rooftops can be installed. So can a private sector person or can an individual approach and get these things installed and then take the benefit of it?
So you would want to install it there, or?
I have worked in these places and I have seen the scope of solar and how it can be.
Right. So I think he would be a better person.
So that can be easily taken care of, if not through the government, through a CSR activity. If a company, if you approach a big corporation and you give them a presentation that, these so many families and so many kids will benefit, I'm sure one of the companies would help. And I can exchange my card with you, and I'll also try to help you out.
Thank you, Mr. Mamik.
Hi, Mr. Gaurav. So, sorry, my question is for Mr. Gaurav. So you exploited a concept of smart homes, which are IoT enabled, cloud enabled, and other functionalities that there could be other functionalities of solar and water distribution. So you said you're entering UP. So what kind of challenges you are facing in terms of infrastructure and availability of resources in entering a state like UP, where there's a lot of decentralized resources but not a centralized system for such a resource such as IoT and solar panels and water distributions. So if you could brief something about that.
So jokingly it's said, if you worked in UP, you can work anywhere in the world, I guess,
I
right?
have heard that. I am from UP.
Okay, you're from UP? Okay. So out of the 76 districts in UP, we are already in 68 districts. So we have a very well-established network in UP. And so I don't see as a company having that issues, because we've got a lot of people on ground over there. We've been there for the last 6 years. And we're just doing our pilot right now in Jaunpur district for the smart homes, and they're going to then take it to Siddharth Nagar and other places of UP.
Thank you.
But it's a great state to work in if you can understand the people and understand their needs. I don't think so anyone should be worried about that state. It's changed a lot from the last 7 years back when I started till today.
Thank you.
Any other question we have?
Hi, I'm Mohit Mittal from Apollo's Technologies, Indore. My question is to Ms. Shweta Malik. As we know that blockchain technology is a very emerging field, and as far as my knowledge is concerned, blockchain technology is a very power-intensive field. And as the size of the block increases, the utilization of power also increases. So how are you going to handle that huge amount of power that the technology itself is utilizing? Thank you.
That's a great question. Actually, that is the disadvantage of blockchain, but we have come across that there are several types of blockchain network, private and public. The disadvantage that you have told us is actually of public blockchain network, which is Ethereum based network. When we are using private blockchain, that is Hyperledger, it provides number of transactions to be much higher than Ethereum, and the power consumed by Hyperledger technology is much lesser than Ethereum, that is public platform. So the only advice that I can give, use private blockchain. It will take less consumption. The power consumption is much lesser as compared to public. Thank you.
Mentor of a project called Hope for Africa through Sustainable Development. My name is Kumar Sood. I'm the chairman of Regnet Energy Solutions. I don't know whether you guys have considered DC mini microgrids as part of the solution of this, because in today's context, that makes much more economic sense, primarily for any village-based system. So are you considering that, or anybody here who has actually implemented this? Because I am a technology provider for that, and we are going to do these kind of sample projects. I'm also advisor for the International Solar Alliance.
As a part of TERI, actually we are not targeting rural electrification. We are not into villages. We are not setting up any microgrids. We are in collaboration with various DISCOM, and all the pilot projects that we will be implementing will be in Delhi itself. So I think we are not targeting villages for now. Thank you.
Talk to him.
Yes, one question, last question.
Yeah, hello. My name is Arindam Shah, and I am from a company called Prakritik Power Private Limited. So basically this question is for everyone, especially in case of UFI. So there are two metering concepts, that is net metering and gross metering. And as per the policies, the concept of net metering has totally vanished, especially if I talk about the commercial sector. So why do you think like the industrial consumer will go for the solar, when for the gross metering, the entire supply will be transported to the grid, and for that they will get merely 2 rupees per unit. On the other hand, in case of net metering, so that is more viable, where customer actually think of going for solar. So what do you think, like what would be the solution that as a commercial customer, as a company, we can talk to the commercial customer and how we can take up this challenge?
It is not actually in favor of customer. It is in favor of Discom. So these government policies are there, which is obviously not in favor of customer, and a case is going on in UP. I think you must be aware of that case against UPPCL for this same aspect. So right now, I don't think any of us can answer this question on a particular point, right? If please.
It's a global trend. It's not an Indian, it's a global trend. Solar photovoltaics and renewables per se, along with energy storage, is a game changer already globally. All you need is a reliable, low cost and long life cycle storage solution. Based on this, whatever this gentleman is saying, in fact, you will be amazed. I have documents even from US and some other European and Australia also. Having empowered themselves with the renewable energy and storage technologies, people are going off grid for the same reason. They see no economic sense in buying electricity at what they were buying earlier, because in their countries, the cost of generation was low. Transmission and distribution was almost 4 times the cost of generation. But now with a localized solution, they are getting empowered, and utilities abroad have started campaigning against renewable energy. I don't know how many of you are aware of, and it is happening for the last 4 or 5 years. So in India, it's going to happen. Very soon, we are going to have time of day metering also for the electric vehicles. I'm deeply involved with the electric vehicles program also. So this time of day metering is going to change the entire scenario, because once Discoms start losing money, they will definitely say that, because today there's nothing like a subsidy, nothing like a free lunch. A high-end user is paying a high cost of electricity, and it is being subsidized to the low-end consumer. So now this high-end consumer is saying that I don't need it, because the business models we are giving to them and the options that we are giving to them, they are installing solar and renewable energy and going off grid.
Thank you for your insight, sir. This, on the similar grounds on policy, I want to ask a question to all the panelists sitting over here. Like, we are talking about new technology. We all have some new technologies with us. AI, IoT, blockchain, and internet traffic. We have big data analytics we are doing, microgrid we are working on. So I want to ask the same question to all the panelists. What hurdles on the government side or the policy side we are facing? Sir, can we start with you?
So as the subsidy model is almost over, as you said, there's no free lunch. So I think so. The government is pretty positive in this aspect, and companies like Energy Efficiency Services Limited (ESL) are doing a good job in implementing the new off-grid projects. So I think so things are getting better in my viewpoint.
Despite of having subsidy on on-grid system, you are working on off-grid. Still, you are saying the policy side is better. I think that's a wonderful part. Mr. Gangal, what hurdles you face on the policy side, bringing new technologies into picture?
So, like one policy change that would be very welcome is the standardization of solar. So, if there's a panel, so the government should just set standards for different types of panels, different types of inverters, and not allow subpar materials to come in, because like in India right now, it's possible to get 1 kilowatt at 42,000 rupees. It's possible to get that at 50,000 rupees. And it's also possible to get it at 30,000 rupees. So the 30,000 rupee system would be totally subpar components. The wiring would be faulty. The BOS would be very low quality. So it's not a system that would last 20 years. It won't even last 3 years. So the government needs to do a lot more in promoting standardization. In terms of new technologies, the government has these programs which are pretty open in terms of bringing startups to platforms, but the government does not have a good procurement procedure for these technologies. So we might be able to get a meeting and present to a government official, but then there needs to be some sort of a tendering that needs to be done. And so that makes it really challenging to sell to the government. So if a proper procurement process could come in, that would be really helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Gangal. Tendering, I think, is a major part, but for digitalization, making a tender also a bit difficult task for the government. So,
and solutions have been given to the MNRE already.
we already have Mr. Subramanian Pulipeka sitting over here from NSAFI side who can take this representation forward if required in the new technology side. Mr. Das, I would like to listen from you what the policy hurdles and what new technology you are thinking can also come into picture.
Basically, the entry to the government sector is much more difficult as in compared to getting an entry into the private sector. So that is the biggest hurdle that we are facing. And apart from that, there is no standardization for cleaning as a solution for the robotics. As we all know that we have a marking institute, BIS. So there is no an initiative from the government to have a BIS certification. If we go onto the global level, we have this UL or TUV certificates. But in India, we don't have this BIS certificate. So the government needs to embrace these kind of technologies with an open heart. So this is what my point of view is.
I would like to listen, I think hurdles we already have, but what new technologies also we can bring, like in a childish way, if you can say.
So like Shweta mentioned about the blockchain, so if there is a conducive environment for P2P transactions. So if there is a conducive environment for P2P transaction that can use blockchain, so that will be really helpful. And we also see that government takes a very long time for example, there was no clarity on the use of drones. That took a very long time, to hear something from the government side. So to bring the newer technology, if regulatory environment can also be conducive and can follow with that, so that will be really wonderful. Because whenever there is a new technology coming up, we also need government to come up with the conducive environment for that.
On the similar grounds, sir, you can also please speak.
Thanks very much. My perspective is obviously going to be more limited to Southern Africa. I think the historical thing there is the legislative environment. It remains static and it's problematic. It's a legacy environment. It's been there a long time and policy doesn't change in a hurry and disruptive technologies don't do it any favors. For example, in South Africa, there is only one national provider or generator of electricity, barring a few exceptional cases, that's allowed to generate electricity. And added to that problem is the fact that our network is old and of old design. So if we go and install solar panels where we are, and I can speak firsthand, I'm in a rural area on a farm and have looked at putting in my own panels for myself. The economic benefit is not there yet because of the storage requirements. A lot of the times, if the national grid were able, if one was able to use the national grid as a storage capacity and generate electricity while your sunlight is good and backfeed into the grid, and then when you draw on the grid, balance the equation, that would be fine. We are not able to backfeed, so then we need storage capacity. Storage capacity equals expense, equals it's not a good business. It is changing, the technology is developing. There were some really exciting recent developments at Loughborough University in Leicester in the UK, where they're playing with the constitution of the material on the solar panels, where they're using cadmium and they are altering the amount of selenium, I believe, into the panel, and they are increasing efficacy of the panel by up to 15%. I think these are exciting developments, and I think as these progress, things will definitely change. But I do think the legislative environment needs to change, and I think there needs to be awareness from the grid, or the national government who own the grid, that this technology is coming. and they need to update their grids or start making the changes to their networks that they need to make to allow backfeeding into the grid, and far more people will adopt, and it will actually assist the national grid provider in terms of how much capacity they need to generate.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. With this, I would like to conclude the session, and by saying digitalization can facilitate positive change, provided if we bring it into picture in a very right direction, in a very right way. I would like to hand over the mic to Ms. Aishwarya to conclude the session, please.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar, and thank you to our distinguished panel for ending on such a high note. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we conclude the 3-day conference on Solar India. I would, however, like our chairperson and moderator to kindly felicitate the rest of his panel with a small token of our appreciation. Shweta, Malik. Mr. Gaurav, Mamik. Mr. Siddharth, Gangal. Mr. Manish Das. Mr. Alok Kumar. And Mr. Richard Shacklock. And it's my honor on behalf of EI to felicitate our moderator, Mr. Prasidh Kumar. May I request the esteemed panel to kindly rise for one commemorative picture.